So I am going to start with John Spalding from the, I keep saying the Wisconsin Department of Commerce. That would have been correct.
Up until July 1.
Up till July 1. But he is the Energy HVAC Matrix Chief for the State of Wisconsin Safety and Buildings Division. He is a part of the team. He is the part of the team that reviews and writes the Wisconsin amendments to the codes, along with providing code interpretations for specific projects. Prior to joining the state of Wisconsin 14 years ago, he worked in the private sector as an architect and construction manager for 28 years, including 12 years in his own firm. The stories about his days in his own firm are actually a lot of fun. But that's for side discussions. John has been working on energy conservation projects since 1976. He studied at the Illinois Institute of Technology, graduating with a degree in architectural engineering in 1971, and is a member of the lacrosse chapter of ASHRAE. His main pastime is helping to raise 3 grandkids and, well, trying to wrestle the control of the TV remote from them. I don't know how well successful he is, but
not good.
Please welcome John Spalding.
Okay, good morning. As Isaac mentioned, we were given a contract, state of Wisconsin, funded by a grant from DOE and through the auspices of MEEA and PNNL to do 90% energy compliance, and our specific mission was to do that with new commercial construction. In that we partnered with the state of Iowa, who did new residential construction. Okay, just a real quick, I realized yesterday that what I take for granted on our state plan review organizational chart may be totally foreign to the rest of it. Wisconsin has statewide code enactment and enforcement. So if there's a commercial, industrial, public, low-rise residential building project plans come in, it'll go to one of 3 places. It either goes to the state, to our division for plan review, or there are about 220 delegated municipalities that can do plan review on their own, plan review and inspection on their own, up to certain levels, and that depends on the qualifications of the city and size of the city. And finally, there's first and second class city plan reviews, which is Milwaukee, Janesville, Madison. We stay out of their way totally. They have sole authority for plan review, for inspection of any size, shape of building. So totally separate, although they still have to follow the state code, 2009 IECC. You notice in each instance, as part of the plan review, the first thing they do is verify the energy compliance report. We're lucky in the sense that 95% of the submitters of the plans include a ComCheck report, which gives us a real fast and easy pass-fail, and gives us all the data. And frankly, if it's a clean report, we can get through that in 15 minutes. Just some spot checks on R values, U values, areas, and we're good to go. Another rule we have is if they don't submit the energy envelope calcs, or if the energy envelope calcs don't pass after we double check them, the whole plan goes on hold. Nothing is approved in Wisconsin until those energy envelope calcs pass. From there, after the plans are reviewed, for example, by our office, any of them going for the delegated municipalities are inspected by those municipalities. That would, for example, be La Crosse, Green Bay, Eau Claire, Superior, cities like that. If they don't do the inspection themselves, then it goes to our state inspectors, who cover a large territory and primarily the rural areas. Finally, in each case, as part of the final inspections, and this is ongoing, all the inspectors will make multiple visits to every project, but as part of the final inspection, they will verify all of the energy compliance, whatever they haven't checked during the construction. And then in addition, the state of Wisconsin has a requirement that every project over 50,000 cubic feet has to have a supervising professional, architect or engineer, and that person is responsible to make periodic visits to the site to generally determine that it's meeting the code and meeting the plans. And that supervising professional must also submit a completion statement identifying that the building was built in accordance with codes. So we've got a dual edge there. For our energy pilot study, our study staff was all State of Wisconsin Safety and Buildings Division staff, working with local inspectors whenever we were in a delegated municipality or first or second class city. The staff that we used for the energy study were not the same reviewers and inspectors that did the original building review inspection, except when absolutely necessary. For example, we only have one inspector that covers the whole northern third of the state, and so that person, there was just nobody else to send up that way, so she did both. But we had a different plan review. We included 6 field inspectors, 4 plant reviewers, and 1 person who did the final review of all the incoming data and did the data entry. If I had to do it over again, I would say keep it down to 3, maybe 4 people at the most, and make it a full-time job for the duration. Just some sample projects and explain a little bit why these are unique. Now we have upper left, that's a business complex. Upper right, retail big box store, and that's significant because we're finding as the energy code takes effect, more and more buildings are being constructed using insulated precast concrete panels rather than concrete blocks. These things lay up in a hurry, buildings built faster, they meet the energy code with little or no problem. We also did small strip shopping centers, and lower right is a University of Wisconsin combination stores, educational facilities, and offices. A few sample projects with some interesting dilemmas. The one is a suspended ceiling with the insulation on top, and that, of course, counts for nothing. And it was 0. After we pointed that out to them, they made different arrangements and actually sprayed insulation to the underside of the roof structure. One on the upper right, this was a case where, in spite of how many times we go out to visit, you'll see the foundation insulation goes right up to the top of the foundation. Next time we went out there, the slab had already been poured. So We assumed that they cut it at a 45-degree diagonal, which would meet the code, as opposed to cutting it down 4 inches. Because if they were going to cut it down 4 inches, they might as well have just installed it that way. The bottom 2 slides were very interesting, and again, these are all random. We didn't know what we were getting into until we got there. The bottom 2 slides are a factory building that it has no artificial illumination. It's all ceiling skylights and windows facing south. It's a long, narrow building, so you got plenty of light. It is seasonal, meaning that when it gets November, December, January, when we don't have much light, they do shut down for the year. But otherwise, that's just an immense energy saver right there. Here's an interesting project, again by random. It was a small retail center built for a disadvantaged area through the ARRA funding. Gaze Mills, Wisconsin is in the southwest corner of the state, which is a very sparsely populated and very poor area. Beautiful. It's the most beautiful part of the state, but nobody lives there. If any of you are familiar with Cabela's and Prairie du Chien at all, this is about 25 miles northeast of Prairie du Chien and Cabela's main headquarters. This project used insulated foundations and walls with the foundation system, and it used panelized wall construction above that. You can see the panels down below. Met very stringent federal standards for this. Had probably the most complicated HVAC system I've ever seen in my life for a small retail center. And I can only assume it's because they had a lot of money from the Recovery Act and needed to spend it. And of course, if the engineers are getting paid on a percentage, why not? But it was a very efficient system. Okay, all of the studies used these energy calculation checklists, which were developed by PNNL. Each one, there was a separate one for residential, for commercial, separate ones for IECC 2009 and ASHRAE 90.1 2007. In Wisconsin, again, 90–95% of the submitters use the IECC rather than the ASHRAE 90.1. We're hoping that'll kind of reverse in the coming year. This is what happens when you go into the ComCheck sheet. Very simple, excellent software program. You enter the walls, R values, windows, doors. It'll automatically, you enter the gross area of the walls and roof, and then add in windows and doors under them, and it'll automatically deduct that area from the gross wall area. So it does a lot of math, does it accurately, does it fast. The only places we really need to check is the gross area when we're doing a plan review and the R values. We get attic insulation, which is supposed to be cavity, listed as continuous, and you get some people that are overly ambitious with their overhead doors or windows as far as U values. If they don't provide cut sheets or some other data, guarded hotbox test sheets to demonstrate, to prove their capability, we go by the default value and rerun it. Here's example ComCheck printout report. This is what typically gets submitted to us, signed by the design professional. You'll see the green bar on the bottom, that means it passes. This is for a large distribution center in Toma, 352,000 square feet. It did pass by 3% better than code. It is actually because until September 1st of this year, we enforced the 2006 IECC, but this study was all 2009, and surprisingly, most of them passed. This in particular used insulated precast concrete wall panels. We also did a random sampling. Again, that was through PNNL. Gave us county by county, the number of construction starts, the percent of the total in Wisconsin, number of buildings to be sampled in each area, and the breakdown of small, medium, large. Downside of that is this was a 3-year average, and we did this beginning in October of last year, when construction was virtually zipped. So we ended up really getting whatever we could get. We have a regulated object system in Wisconsin that records every commercial and multifamily project in the state, whether they go through delegated municipality or the state reviewers do it. The only thing we don't do is hospitals and nursing homes because of various federal regs. Those are done specifically by Department of Health. But you can see here, just as an example, we get all of these buildings and structures. We can do a study, a search based on the county, search based on municipalities, whatever you want. We took the county by county approach and then randomly picked every fourth project and opened it up, and if it met criteria, we used it. And then we go back again and do the same thing, starting with the second line every fourth, until we had sufficient buildings for the whole place, the whole project. Once you get to one of those, you can open up that project and get complete information, general info, type details like construction type, multiple information such as use, occupancy, use, and the size, zone, climate zone, everything else. Here's a map showing approximately where all the projects were. As you can see, there's big clusters around if you look over towards Central on the right-hand side, that's Appleton, Green Bay, Oshkosh, Fond du Lac. That's a fairly heavily populated area. It's almost a corridor, wall-to-wall people. And of course down near Milwaukee, which is lower right, and in the center with the black star, and there's different meanings for the black star right now, but that is Madison, so there's a lot of construction, especially state construction going on there. Then we have a little bit in northern Wisconsin, a little bit in southwest, and some around Eau Claire and La Crosse, which are the other two main